Welcome everybody to this edition of Racing to Win. We've got a big 11 race card coming up for you at Sha Tin on Sunday afternoon with the first Griffin race of the season, one of the highlights. There's obviously two cup races as well. I welcome John Blance and Paul Lally to the program. And guys, firstly starting with you, John, it is an interesting card, couple of races on the dirt too. Yeah, early start, 12:30, so don't let that catch you out. And yeah, looking forward to those Griffins first up, and the 2,200 metre race is a real cracker, exultant, trying to give lots of weight away. Yeah, well, that's right, a very important race for him, and also Riven, of course, QE2 coming up. Paul, some newcomers on the program as well, and there's one very exciting one from the John Size Yard. Yeah, 12 newcomers in total, 7 in the first, obviously, being a Griffin race, but then we've got, he's the one for you in the last, who looks like a really nice recruit here in Hong Kong as well. A couple of good jackpots as well. $1.8 million triple trio and also 2.76 up. He's the one for us even. Yeah. Who would be a race caller? Well, there's plenty of those around, isn't there? Hopefully they won't get mixed in together at some stage. But as you say, one is only raced in New Zealand by 8. Very impressive. Yeah. Very impressive horse. And called the same name in New Zealand. Yeah, he'll be one we'll focus in on a little later on in the show. Actually got plenty to get through as well because of the 11 race card. So let's get cracking and get straight into the situation. With the scratchings firstly, 5-9 Noble de Love is out, and Flying Noble for Joe Moreira, who had some success in Sydney on Saturday. He'll take the reins, and Ambitious Pins is out of race 6, put a line through number 10. So that's the changes. Rails in the C+3 position for the turf races. There's 8 of them, there's 3 on the all-weather. And we kick off with the first Griffin race of the season. 1,000 metres for the Castle Peak Bay. Pacific Master, Rockage, Speed Vision. Now, they're the 3-year-olds. Then we've got Quadruple Double, Savvy 7, Strathallan and Starling City, the 2-year-olds. How have you seen the pace unfolding with the youngsters, John? Well, Quadruple Double in his last trial especially showed really good gate speed. He was very professional over 800 metres, so I expect him to be out in provenance early. Strathallan's also been good from the gate. Speed Vision not quite as quick, but quick enough. And we should trail back to Savvy 7, who might be working quite hard early. Now, here are the 3 John Moore horses all in this race. The one closest to us is Starling City. The one that's obscured in the middle was Savvy 7, Pacific Master, just coming along the outside. So I thought it was a good opportunity to see all 3 of them sort of having a good run along there together. Quadruple Double, he's just been doing some slow work this week, but Matthew Poon's aboard, get a good feel for the horse, and as you mentioned, did win that 800 metre trial recently as well. So that's 4 of the 7 runners we've managed to see. And Strathallan, the other one, he's pretty speedy, this horse. Another one that's won a trial over 800. Looked a bit green at times, but he's got some good natural pace as well. And he should be up there, as you mentioned, on that speed map on the pace. So we get to see most of them. There's no such thing as race pressure, obviously. And who's going to handle it best with regards to our newcomers? Let's firstly hear from Karis Teaton, the rider of Strathallan.
Karis, you rode Strathallan for his first race start on Sunday. You rode him in a trial recently. He won that trial. Do you go in confident with him?
Yeah, of course he's a young horse, and he did a nice trial. You know, it's only 2 years old, so it's only how much he can improve from the trial. Of course, all the other horses in the same category as him. So, you know, of course, there's a few other horses that look pretty fast, and so we'll see on the day how it goes.
But the way that he won that trial must give you some confidence, the way that he beat those horses and what he showed in that trial.
Yeah, he showed a bit. I expected a bit more maybe. He showed a bit of speed, and he finished the trial. There's 1 or 2 horses that you need to watch for that've been trialing good too. So, you know, like I said, it's a 2-year-old race, and you know, if the one that got the most experience normally come out and run, and so we'll see on the day. I think after the first round, you normally see how good and how much they can still improve.
And you're heading into the meeting in good form too. Well done on your treble on Wednesday night.
Yeah, thank you. It's second meeting back after the suspension, but it was nice to be able to ride 3 winners.
Yeah, he's in good form, Karis Teaton, no doubt about that. Let's move on to the next piece of footage, and we're going to focus here on Quadruple Double, who, of course, finished 4th in that trial we saw in the footage with Strathallan, but then came out and did this. He really buzzed along on the lead here. He's definitely improved with every one of his trials, this horse. This is 800 metres, so he's just going to go that extra 200. He was just pushed out a little bit at the end of it, but still won with plenty in hand, and definitely had the wood over the other 2 that were in this trial as well, Savvy 7 and Pacific Master. So of the 3, he's definitely the one. Yeah, I tend to agree as well. John, what have you made of Rockage or Rockage's trials in the morning?
Not too bad. I think he's got a little bit to find with the two that we mentioned there earlier on, and also Speed Vision trialled this same morning as well, over the 1,000 metres, and clocked a considerably quicker time. So for me, Rockage is possibly one to keep an eye on for maybe a little bit further.
I notice he gets quite warm in the mornings too, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him buzzed up in the paddock. We'll get the report from Jenny, obviously. This is the one that interests me the most, Speed Vision. The reason I like him is because he's had 3 solid trials over 1,000 against some very good horses. That's Mr. Lumiere, the horse to his right, and he'll start favourite in a pretty solid sprint race later on in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad trial. The only thing
50-50's in that too, Paul.
Yeah, I can see winning the trial. The thing that worries me a little bit about him, I think he'll run very well, is he has missed the start in a couple of his trials. But his last trial, he did everything right. So he's been really well sort of prepared leading into it.
You'd think that, you know, quadruple double Strathallan might have the edge on him in the early stages, definitely. Yeah. Styling City, look, this was a fair enough trial. The other one I thought was only, you know, fair to poor.
Remember a horse called Amusing City last year?
I do.
He trialled abysmally a couple of times, and then he came out and won a Griffin race, and you thought, well, how's he managed to produce that? So I don't know. This was not a very good trial, and you'd prefer the others, but I think would be surprised if he ran well and he'd be in the market as well.
The owner doesn't generally get a bad one. He had Sterling City as well, went on and won in Dubai. So anyway, it will all come together after the starter says go. Paul, who's the tip?
I think there's 3 main chances. So I'll go with Strathallan because he's been in work a lot longer and he will come into this race quite well prepared. Speed Vision obviously has raced over the 1,000 trials, so that's going to suit him. And Quadruple Double will be on the pace, be there for a long period of time. They're the 3 main ones. I went 6-3-4, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a different order. Rockage is in there for 4th, but I think he's well behind the first 3. So I'd be playing exotics around those top 3.
Yep, same 3 for me in a slightly different order. Quadruple Double's win the other week in his trial was pretty impressive, and he does have Matthew Poon taking off those £5 as well, which might just be very important in the final analysis. Might just let him get a little bit closer to Strathallan, who of course was behind in the first piece of VT that we saw. But he goes in for 2nd, Strathallan, Speed Vision in for 3rd, and I've got Styling City just because I don't want to be against him, given his connections and the fact that something similar happened with another horse of that ilk last year. So, but 3, 4 and 6, if you box your Tierce up there in the first, like Paul said, he'll not be going too far wrong.
Yeah, good to see the youngsters on show. I think Speed Vision looks a bit of a racer, so I'll be siding with him as